Alright, picking up right back where we left off. We are still in the shopkeep blueprint, so I am just going to add my event interact, because it automatically has, wait. Yeah, parent, okay. Alright, don't mess with me. Oh, inherit, okay. Alright, I didn't see it, so it threw me off for a second. Interact, that should have told me. Alright, so every time we interact with this shopkeeper, we want to get the inventory. I want to take a quick look at how I had this set up. Okay, alright, so after we get the inventory expected, we want to get the length of that. Just like we set up in the inventory panel, we're going to subtract 1, because then we want to do a for loop. So we'll do a for loop, and we will hook this up just like that. And then for each item, we want, why am I forgetting this? I had this. Okay, my brain's not working. So for the loop, for each item in our inventory expected, we are going to get a copy of the item at that index. And then we're going to do an enum to string, and we want to get our data table of our inventory. So for the data table, I'm going to go to my item info, and for the row name, I'm going to plug in the index of the item that we just got, so it knows which item to pull out. Now for each item found, we want to grab out our inventory array and add a unique copy, and then we'll hook that just like that. So now once it's completed, we really should probably that's where I messed up. But it's alright, we can do this way too. So at the beginning, when we interact, first we want to see if we've already interacted. So I'm going to add a branch, and off the false, like we're interacting for the first time, then I'll hook that right here. So I'm going to add a variable called shop open ? This is going to be a boolean, and it's going to be made into a single instance. I'm going to compile that and hook that right there. So after it does all this, then we want to, I'm just going to create a custom event called show shop. And then off our completed, it's going to just be called right there, just so that it's a little cleaner. We don't have everything kind of overlapping. So once we want to show the shop, we are going to create a widget. The widget is our shop, shop screen, the shop widget. Then we're going to add it to the viewport, and we will get a player controller, because we want to set our input mode to game and UI so that we can click buttons or interact with our widget with the click, So off the player controller, I'm going to drag off, because I also want to set show mouse cursor. I'm going to set that to true so we can actually see the things we're trying to click on. Now at the very end of that, I am going to grab out my shop open boolean and set it to true. One more thing we can do, we can back this up, and off the create shop widget, I actually want to promote that to a variable called shop widget. Disconnect all that. If you hold Alt and left click, you can disconnect wires. Or if you hold Control and left click, you can reposition them. So I just like to do it this way. That should be good. Compile that real quick. So now off of our shop is open, then we want to grab out our shop widget and remove it from parent. Get another copy of our player controller so that we can set our input mode back to game only. So we're just running around, we don't have our mouse on screen, and we're going to set show mouse cursor back to false. Now at the end of this, the last thing we want to do is we want to set the shop no longer open. So what we're doing is when we interact with the shopkeeper, we're checking to see have we already interacted with her. If not, then we're checking to see what inventory is expected. We're filling her inventory based on the items in the array, based on the data table that we've already established. Then we're adding that item to her inventory that's expected for the shop widget. If it is open, then we're just going to close the widget, set our input modes back to normal, and that's all going to be good. So, as far as I can tell, let's check it out. So our inventory screen is up, and it closes. I don't think I've accessed none trying to read shopkeeper. Alright, one more thing we want to do. In our shopkeep blueprint, when we create the shop widget, it doesn't know which shopkeeper to try to get. So, off of the shopkeep widget, we want to drag off and set shopkeeper. So we'll hook that right to there, and then that to there, and then right off the shopkeeper here, we want to get a reference to our self, or to the shopkeeper's self. That way it knows which inventory, which instance of this character to try to interact and pull from. So she doesn't have any inventory yet, but that should solve that. Yeah. Alright, so now with her selected, I can click right here. I can add a health potion, mana potion, rusted sword, iron sword. And now when I run up and talk to her, that should be what we see. That is not what we see. There is nothing there. What you doing? Shopkeeper inventory length. Get. Alright. I'm adding the child's uniform grid, right? Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, so if you get that issue to where it's not showing up on screen, inside the shop widget, after we create the shop icon, after we're establishing what's inside her inventory, right after we set the item info, you actually need to drag this over so that it knows what content we're adding to that child uniform grid. There it is. So let's just see that up close a little bit. And there's that shopkeeper. But the shop, it needs a little bit of work. So I'm going to go into my inventory grid. And on the child layout, I'm going to set the slot padding to about 5. And I'm kind of thinking that 500 is a bit much, but I'm going to check it real quick and see. Maybe if I add one more item. Shield, why not? Because that's how many are going to be on the row, and then I can know. Okay, so it needs to be in just a little bit. So just a little bit closer to that. Oh, it's not going to be on screen. Alright, I'm going to do 450, 475. 475 is probably alright. 450. Now you can do this either way. You can either shrink the widget down, or you can, I guess like 425 would be better. What the hell? It seems like it's shrinking right along with it. Should I size it to content? No. Maybe. Let's try it. You know what? Yeah, let's try it. Why not? Oh, that doesn't look terrible. I mean, it don't look good, but it don't look terrible. Let's not do that. I'll try this one more time. Then we'll move on. I'll show you something else. Yeah, that looks alright. 425. That's the magic number for me. And let's take a look and see what happens if I add one more item. So, one more wood arrow. Why not? Just to see what happens on that next row. Yeah, it's looking alright. So now what's really cool about this is, let's say, let me just empty out her inventory. She is just going to have a health and a mana potion, and she is going to have a rusted sword and a wooden shield, and she's going to have an iron sword and an iron shield. Ooh, iron shield. So now all of these shopkeepers, health and mana potion, wooden or rusty sword, wooden shield, iron sword, iron shield. So they all can have different inventories based on what you want them to sell. Like if you have a pretty expansive shop list, you can use this entire thing and have different shopkeepers. I am going to go to Mixamo real quick, because I'm going to find a shopkeeper, and I think that's going to be my clickbait one right there. So this, yeah, Mixamo is a good place to get a lot of free characters. Like for instance, I am going to be setting up one that's my general merchant, which is this girl. The magic teacher is going to be this guy. The magic teacher is going to be along the same lines as the inventory, so you can have different magic teachers doing different things. In my little version of the game, it's going to be like he's part of the arcane order, and they all look like kind of like the guys from Skyrim, the Greybeards. Let's see. There was somebody else I was going to use that was like a bow merchant. Oh, she was going to sell bows and arrows and like scavenged goods, like hunting and stuff, and he was going to be my gear salesman. So I'll probably establish those in a separate thing. But let me show you something real quick. Now, I mentioned this place a lot, but open game art, if you're looking for icons to get on screen for interact references, let me just type hand icon, and look, you can get pointers, weapon icons, all kinds of stuff right here. But yeah, that's pretty much all it takes for these shopkeepers. Yeah, the power of the data table, man. Oh, but one more thing that we need to do. Do we have time? We have time if I stop running my damn mouth. Alright, so let's go to our player blueprint real quick. And down at the very bottom, we want to add another variable of an integer that is going to be the player's gold. And I'm going to make that an integer. Compile that, and she's going to start off with $500. Now, I don't remember how much I made items cost. Oh, they're not too expensive. We'll be able to buy a few. Now, in the shop icon, we want to add a clicked event. So, I have the name selected. That's why it ain't doing nothing. You got to click the button, and then on clicked, what we want to do is we want to cast to the player. For the object, we will get the character? Where are you? Get player character. And then what we don't want to do, we don't have to set it as a reference. What we're going to do is we're going to get our gold and see if it is greater than or equal. I'm going to grab out my item info one more time, break it open, and I'm going to see if it's greater than or equal to the price of the item. I'm going to hit a branch, and if it is, then I want to, I guess I could have made this a reference, but I'm just going to do a reroute node. And I'm going to call my pickup item function. That looks terrible. Alright, let's back that up. Move that forward. So I'm going to hide the unconnected pins like that. And I'm just going to hook my item info up. Just like that. And then, after we pick up the item, we want to set our gold get our gold one more time. Move this over. Subtract the price from it and let that be our new amount. So I'm going to compile that. And one more thing, just so we can actually see it, I'm going to go into my player HUD, and over here on the bottom right, I'm just going to set a text block real quick, just so you can see it in action. Set my player reference, get my gold, and then, so now you can see I got $500 there. Let me run up to my item merchant. Now, as I click them, I'm picking them. So I can buy my rusty sword, but I can't get my wooden shield. Damn, I don't have enough money. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know why I'm tripping. I got a wooden shield right there. But in the next one, we will set up the other side of this. Oh, okay. The other side of this over here that will have your player's inventory so that you can actually sell to the shop. So I will see y'all in the next one. Bye bye.